Welcome to the Real Estate and Small Business for Management Consultant Show. Whether you hold a corporate 9-to-5 or have determined that you want to explore the small business realm, this show is for you. Christian Carrillo talks to entrepreneurs and experts in the real estate and small business realms to discover what they do, why they do it, and how they do it to help show you the art of the possible. And now your host, Christian Carrillo.
Welcome back to the Real Estate and Small Business Show. I am your host, Christian Carrillo. Today we've got quite a special interview for you folks, and I'd say definitely a celebrity in the DMV area. Our guest is Amir Mostafavi. Thank you for hopping on the show, Amir. We're so excited to have you on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So Amir grew up in McLean, VA, and is the founder and CEO of SouthBlock. His parents owned local video stores in McLean Falls Church called Box Office Video. It was there where Amir grew to love and appreciate how special a connection to a community truly is and can be. He felt that there was a lack of fresh juice and smoothie options in the DMV, and soon after graduating from Virginia Tech, Amir opened his first juice bar in 2006 on campus at George Washington University, called Campus Fresh. He would spend the next 5 years perfecting his craft and connecting with his community at George Washington, where they were known to have almost daily student fundraisers at Campus Fresh. In 2011, the very first SouthBlock opened in Clarendon, VA. And Amir, you and I were just chatting about that first opening because I think it definitely holds a special place in my heart and my childhood growing up. And I think your story is so unique, and I think how much you care about the community and making an impact, especially through business, is just amazing to me. So why don't you get us started with a little bit more about who you are and how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, no, thanks so much. That was you did all your homework, so I feel like you said it all. We can just wrap up right now. that was a good. It reminded me of some things in my history. Thank you. I appreciate that, and no, I love like you said, we were chatting right before we started the interview here, and you were telling me about your history and with SouthBlock and Clarendon and some of the memories you have there, and I just love that. I love being part of people's experiences and people's hopefully good experiences. So I always love when people share that with me. That's what it's all about, is hopefully making a difference in some small way. So yeah, I mean, you pretty much talked about some of my background there, but yeah, I grew up in an entrepreneur family. My dad was started off as a professor in business and marketing. Mm-hmm. I got a lot of inspiration from him and his story. He was born in Iran. He came here when he was 19 without knowing any English. Wow. Taught himself to learn English, and put himself through school. Met my mom in Chicago, and they moved back to Iran. And I was born in Iran, and my brother, my sister were born there as well. And when I was about 3 years old, we came back to the States, where my dad was getting his PhD from Clarendon University, which is a university back in Iran. So during that time, the Revolution War started in Iran, and so we ended up not going back to Iran, obviously, and stayed here. And my dad lost everything. He lost his funding from the university for his PhD program. He had stipends for housing and food. All that was taken away. Everything he owned back in Iran, his house, his cars, his bank account, everything was taken. So here we are, like a young family with 4 kids, and my dad getting his PhD with nothing, right? So what do you do in that situation, right? He fought his way through. For a short period of time, we were on food stamps, thrift clothes. So, it taught me the importance of really like giving back to the community, supporting people when they need the help, That's what we do through our juices here. This juice feeds people. The logo behind me is Fruitful Planet. It's a nonprofit organization I started in 2019 to get fruits and vegetables back to the community through our juice sales at SouthBlock. So everyone's making a difference when they're buying a juice. But what that taught me was, he ended up fighting his way through, figuring out a way, getting his PhD, still becoming a professor, and ultimately, owning his own businesses as well. That taught me that no matter what life throws at you, there's always a way, there's always hope and opportunity for you, as long as you are persistent, you have grit, you adapt, you don't give up. And that's really life. That's business, that's life, is just, adapting, finding a way, never giving up hope, and finding a path forward. And the path forward isn't always what you maybe planned it to be, but as long as you're able to adapt and stay positive in certain situations, then you'll find a way to the other side. So that's what he did. And he had, you'd mentioned box office video. He had video stores in McLean and Falls Church. And, I grew up working in those, and I, saw how much he was working as a small business owner. And growing up, for me, that was the last thing I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
I was like this, I saw my friends' parents with vacations and corporate jobs with 401k and paid vacations and all that stuff. And I thought to myself, that's what I want, right? I want that security. So when I went to Virginia Tech, I got out and got a corporate job, quickly into it. Well, I'd say right away, I was like, this is pretty cool, because I'm going into work and I'm probably doing maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours of real work every day, and then just wasting time the rest of the day, taking long lunch breaks and all that. And I wasn't inspired, I wasn't motivated, I didn't feel like I was doing anything important. And I wanted more. I wanted to feel like what I was doing was making a difference. And at first it was for me in my life. I wanted something that I was excited to get out of bed for. And then that's when I realized that what my dad was doing wasn't that crazy. He was passionate every day, and every day for him wasn't work. It was just life. He was excited about it. He was passionate about it. It's what got him up in the morning. It's what kept him up at night. But that's what life is. That's what keeps you going. That's what keeps you excited. There's stress, there's risk involved, but people who want that lifestyle, who want that excitement, you wouldn't want it any other way. You don't want routine. You don't want you want things to be random and crazy every day, because that's how you thrive, right? That's what's in your blood. So
Yeah.
Once I realized that, I started thinking about businesses that I wanted to, that interest me. I was really drawn to this world of juice and smoothies. And back then, acai bowls weren't even invented. We can talk about that a little bit later. But I was drawn to this world of juice and smoothies because I would have friends and family in Southern California and San Diego that I would visit and go to these juice bars. I just loved the vibe. I loved the flavors. They were doing it different, like a different level of quality that we didn't have here. So I wanted to bring that quality here. I wanted to bring that flavor here. I always loved fruits and vegetables. Like I said, when we were growing up and times were tough, my dad still found a way to get fruits and vegetables to us. That was big for him. He would never go to the grocery store except to come home with bags of fruit and vegetables. And he would just sit it out on the table, and we'd just sit there and eat, whatever, grapefruits, pomegranates, like bananas, like fruit. And that was important to him, that we always had fruits and vegetables. So I remember that, and I always loved fruits and vegetables. So, that's kind of nostalgic for me. And I just remember that being important to him, to share that and to get that nutrition for us. So, but more importantly, I loved the vibe that I felt like we needed in the DMV. We needed more of this positive vibe. We still need it. Everyone needs it. So just being part of sharing that positive vibe, that positive experience through SouthBlock, through the juice bar was important to me. And I wanted to bring that here. So I did that, in, like you said, back in 2004, opened my first juice bar right off campus at GW, eventually relocated onto campus. It was called Campus Fresh. And that's where I tell everyone I got my PhD in business at GW, because really I didn't know a thing about running a juice bar. I did realize that I had a knack for coming up with juice and smoothie recipes. Most of them I come up with in my head and then throw it in a blender or juicer, and usually it would taste pretty good, surprisingly. So, and people liked it. So, you know, found out I had a talent there that I didn't know about. So that part was pretty easy for me. And then I discovered really the importance of connection to community through GW and through my experiences at my parents' video store working there. I saw my mom working the day shift, who she was my inspiration for Fruitful Planet. She passed away in 2019 and right before the pandemic. And you know, I always tell people she was the most fruitful person that I ever knew, and always really giving of yourself and of herself and giving back. And so, you know, giving back was already something that was important to us at SouthBlock, but I wanted to make it official through Fruitful Planet and through a nonprofit that we could further carry out that mission to give back fruits and vegetables to our community. But she taught me the importance of connection to community. People would come in, she'd work the daytime shifts. They would come in because they knew her. She knew everyone's names. She knew what they liked, what movies they liked, what kind of actors they liked. So I saw that people were coming in because of that, because of her. So I knew that it was important to connect with the community and to get people to know people in your community, know businesses in the community, you know, to support everyone in the community. So, you know, I kind of like developed that through GW and through student organizations and fundraisers. And, you know, we started like catching on with the community, even people that were outside of the school. So, like I said, in 2011, I knew it was time to take the show on the road. I opened South Park in SouthBlock in Clarendon in 2011. See, even me, I get the South Park and SouthBlock mixed up. But it's funny. A lot of people think we're from South Beach because of SouthBlock, but we're not. We're DC born and raised. But the name SouthBlock actually came about because of that experience with the community from GW. And the whole idea behind SouthBlock was to draw people there because of the experience, because of the product too, but mainly because of being involved in the community and experience. And I knew that even though we were taking a small 700 square foot spot on the backside of this building in Clarendon, these were new buildings, new towers they were building in Clarendon back in 2011. It was the North Block and the South Block tower. So I knew I couldn't call it Campus Fresh, which is what my GW location was called. So when I looked at the lease and it said in the South Block tower, I was like, that's the name, South Block, because we are going to create a community on that block. We're going to bring people to that block. So South Block is all about creating that community wherever we go, whatever block we open on. We want to be part of that community. We want to be part of that experience. We want to try to be part of building a healthier community, one block at a time, which is our mission statement. So that's the whole background story, probably more than you wanted to hear. Sorry for rambling on there, but that's probably a good place to start, leading us up to where I opened SouthBlock in 2011.
No, I love that. And I'm sure as you were talking through that, it probably brought a lot of memories from the past and sort of successes, maybe failures that you had and how you got to where you are today. So I absolutely love that. I think I want to take a step back quickly because you talked a little bit about maybe some struggles that you experienced growing up. And I think it made me sort of think about my past as well. And part of the reason why I wanted to pursue heavily a corporate job was what you mentioned, that idea of security, right? I kept thinking if I have this corporate career, nothing's ever going to happen, right? I'm going to be so safe. My family's going to be okay. So you coming out of college, you managed to land a corporate career, and you still decide to pursue entrepreneurship, right? What was that process like? Did you have discussions with maybe family members? Did they try to push back on you, or were you just so determined to get after it?
Yeah, no, my family was not pushing back. You know, my dad's, like I said, entrepreneur, risk taker. So, you know, there was really no pushback on that idea. You know, like I said, I did have a pretty good corporate job, so it was a big decision. I actually started my first juice bar the same year I got married, so
Wow.
it was a big decision as well. You know, my wife was very supportive, but you know, she married me basically the same. We had our honeymoon the month after I opened the first store, so we got married pretty much when I opened the first location. So, you know, so what? It was a big decision. No kids at the time. Like I have 2 daughters now, but so it's a little bit easier decision than when you have kids, I guess. But you know, still, it was a big decision, and you know, I think for me back then, one of the things that was working in my favor was that I didn't really overthink everything. You know, thinking back on it, like I put a lot of thought into it, obviously, but I didn't overthink it. And I think, you know, I tell young entrepreneurs that all the time, is I think what gets in your way is overthinking everything. Obviously, you have to have a plan. You have to be smart about it. You know, you have to have an idea that you believe in. But then, you know, there's too many people, I think, that want to look at all the data and put their head down in their computer and analyze everything and research everything. And you should do a little bit of that, but there's too many people, I think, that get caught up in all of that, and they have their head down in research. Next thing you know, you look up and everyone else is doing it, and you're still analyzing how to do it, right? So I always tell people, don't overthink it. The best thing you can do is to get started somehow, right? You know, I started that GW location with a $30,000 line of credit from my condo. We had a 1-bedroom condo, and I built all the counters myself, and you know, I just made it happen, right? And you know, I think, like I said, when I was at GW, I learned a lot there. That's where I got my PhD in business.
Yeah.
You know, not officially, but through running my business. I joke about that. But so the point is that when you start, whatever your idea is, when you start your business, that's where the learning really begins. That's where the knowledge really starts of like what's working, what's not working. And then you got to listen to your customers, or you have to have an instinct on what's working. Then you have to be prepared to adapt and to pivot and to change things and to try different things. And still to this day, I'm still learning, I'm still adapting, I'm still trying new things. You can't stay still ever in business. So don't worry too much about your 5-10 year plan. Just get started. That plan is going to change. I promise you, it's not going to be the same in 5 years as what you thought it was going to be, because things happen. You learn things you didn't know. You tried things that you didn't think about that work, some things that don't work. That's what business is all about. So don't overthink it. Just get started, and then be prepared to change and to pivot, especially in the beginning, but throughout the life of the business. You know, someone once told me that running a business is like riding a tiger. The minute you let go, you're eaten alive. So you have to always be riding that tiger. You know, that's part of the excitement of it. It's got to be in your blood. You got to want that excitement. You know, you got to be willing to take risks, but calculated risks. Like I'm a risk taker, but you know, I tell people I'm slow and steady risk taker. Like you got to be smart about it. I learn, like I listen to podcasts all the time. I learn so much. It's such a great resource. It's a free resource, and you get like free education from people that have learned from their experiences, from their mistakes, from their successes. And I get a lot of information from that still, still to this day. I just listen to a podcast on the way here, and you always pick up nuggets that help you along your personal and professional life. So constantly be willing to learn, listen to people, learn in your business what works, what doesn't work. So, that's my best advice is just if you have an idea and you're thinking about starting something, just start somewhere, and then you'll figure things out as they go.
Yeah, no, I think that's so powerful. And you mentioned sort of a couple of golden nuggets that I jotted down, right? Because I think a lot of times we get caught up in maybe analysis paralysis. And I think when you chatted a little bit about, going heads down and then putting your head up and realizing everybody's doing it except you, I think when I first started investing in real estate, that's sort of something I encountered. And I think folks definitely go through that a lot, right? And I think just getting started is oftentimes one of the hardest parts, right? And you continue to learn, adapt, pivot, and so on and so forth throughout your journey. So I think that's extremely, extremely powerful, Amir. And Amir, as we're sort of nearing the end of our interview here, we have a couple of last questions that we want to run by you and sort of gauge your thoughts on, because these are questions that our listeners often ask us to ask the individuals that we're interviewing. And I think you'd probably provide a lot of insight and a lot of golden nuggets for these questions. So first one here for you. If you lost it all today, what would you do?
I would do it all over again. You don't have to have it all to start. You start with nothing. And then you go from there. So, I wouldn't do anything else. I'd start it all over again, and I'd be excited about the journey ahead.
I love that. I love that. Going forward, what do you have planned in your business and why?
So right now for SouthBlock, we have a lot of opportunities for growth. We fortunately made it through the pandemic pretty well. It was obviously a tough and challenging time, but I think because we are a solution-minded group of leaders at SouthBlock, we try to stay positive. We are people first company, people over profits, and I think companies that put people ahead of profits really benefited through the pandemic because there was no place to hide. You had to put people first, and if you weren't already doing that, it was very apparent. So, supporting our people throughout the whole thing, supporting our guests, supporting our team, really kind of helped us get through the pandemic. We pivoted a lot, and on the other side of it, we've gained a lot of confidence, and we have a lot of opportunities for growth. So, right now we just opened our first Maryland location at Pike and Rose. We have 3 more locations under construction that I'm really excited about. We're opening in next one coming up is one Loudoun. That's our first Loudoun County location. We're doing Amazon headquarters, the Amazon HQ2 in Pentagon, which we're very excited about. And then we're doing a homecoming in McLean. We're going to open in the Chesterbrook Shopping Center. So I'm really excited about that one because, like you said, that's where I grew up. So, and then beyond that, right now we're looking at the best way to grow the brand outside of this market. What's very important to me is however we grow, we're maintaining the quality of product and the experience of the people within the company, making sure the teams are having a good experience, the guests are having a good experience. So we, like I said, I'm a constant learner, been really learning over the years about how to scale and the best way to do it without destroying what makes you special. So we've got some things in the works now that we feel excited about growth through potentially in other markets outside of the DMV. But even in the DMV, there's so much opportunity still here for us. We think we can get from 15 to 30 locations pretty easily just in the DMV. And so, yeah, we're excited. I've been really growing my leadership team. We have a great team and a great bunch of leaders here that support SouthBlock and are part of this mission along with me. and I know this wasn't part of your question, but I do want to share that, I think it's important, whatever business, or even if you don't have a business, whatever line of work you're in, that you give it you have some kind of purpose and passion beyond what your product is, right? Because, if I like juice is great, but I've been doing this 18 years. Like, I'd be very bored if all I was doing was trying to sell. My whole existence was selling juice and smoothies, right? So I make it about people. I make it about a larger purpose. How can we impact the lives of people around us? And that's whether we're giving opportunities for people to grow and learn within our company, or giving people a positive experience through SouthBlock. Even little things, one of our core values is small acts make big impacts. Little things you do every day can make a big difference. So you have to believe that there's little things you can do that are making a big difference, and make that something you're passionate about beyond what your product is, or your business is, or your work is. And that'll keep you excited and motivated. That'll keep your team excited and motivated. Another quick little story that I like to share is a couple of years ago that I realized this with one of my daughters. I was driving her to school, and she was telling me about one of her dreams that she had. And my kids always tell me about the dreams that they had, and I'm sure you guys know, like, there's your friends, family, kids, whatever, tell you about their dreams, right? And oftentimes when someone's telling you about their dream, you're confused, right? They're all excited about it. They're like, man, last night I had the craziest dream. I was like up in this mountain, and I was flying, and then I was back home, and I was doing it. And you're like, what happened? I don't get it. I'm confused. But to them, it's so exciting, right? So when my daughter was telling me her dream, she often does this when I'm driving her to school. This particular dream, I was in her dream, right? And she's like, tell me about her dream, like, whatever. I'm probably involved a unicorn or something like that. Like, and then Dad, you were there. You were there as well, riding the unicorn. And I'm like, what? I was there? What was I doing? What happened to me? So I started asking questions, right? So what I realized is, if you put people in your dream, they will pay more attention. They will ask questions. They'll be more excited about what you're talking about. So translating that to business, SouthBlock is my dream, right? But I have to share that dream and put other people in that dream with me in order for people to care about it. Like, no one's going to care about it if it's just my dream, right? I have to put people inside of that dream and make them a part of the mission, make them a part of the dream, for them to care about it and to them to have interest in that dream. So you can't make your business all about yourself. You have to make it about everyone else around your business, your customers, your employees. They all have to be a part of that. And so figuring out how to put them in that dream and part of that story is one of the most important things to growing a successful business.
Wow. I think I'm almost speechless. That's so powerful, Amir.
No, I'm glad I had an opportunity to share that. I think it's a great lesson that I learned. It's something that we do in our marketing, in our training. It's something I do in how we hire and the opportunities we give people with. I try to do everything I can to, you can't expect people who you hire to be passionate about your company, unless you're thinking about, why did I start this business? Why am I passionate about it? Well, how do I give that to the people that are joining my company? Like, I wanted to have flexible PTO, so I'm give that to my team, right? Obviously healthcare is important. Profit sharing, I do phantom units. So, people are a part of the success in the company. The better we're doing, the better we're all doing. So sharing in the profits, because when I succeed, I want everyone else to succeed too. So, try to think of everything that motivates you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, or as a manager, and try to share that success and that experience. And it's the ups and downs too, If people are part of that whole journey, and that whole experience, then that's when people will like really feel valued and feel part of something special, and not just like they're doing a job.
Mm-hmm. Wow. No, I love that. So if you could give our listeners one piece of advice today, what would it be?
Wow. Okay. I would say, kind of going back to the beginning. I think, just find something that you're passionate about. Find something that I think life's too short to not do something you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
I think too many people in life try to pursue something that they're passionate about but never find it. So, really, I think trying to blur those lines between work-life balance, like we all want that work-life balance, but I think when you find something you're passionate about that really excites you, that whole idea of work-life balance kind of goes away, because everything is exciting, work and life. And, of course you have to spend time with your friends and family, but when you're passionate about what you're doing, I think I would love for everyone to experience that. So just really try to find something you're passionate about, or try to make what you're doing, try to give meaning to what you're doing so that you are passionate about it. Like I said, life is too short to feel like you're wasting your time and you don't have passion in what you're doing. So just try to give your meaning try to give your life and your work some kind of meaning and purpose, so you feel passionate every day, through the good times and the bad times. I feel stress every day, but that's part of doing something you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm. I love that. All right, Amir, last one here for you. How can our listeners get to know more about you and connect with you?
I do have an Instagram, Amir Most, at Amir Most, AmirMost. That's my personal. Every once in a while, I will drop some business nuggets on there too. And then, of course, SouthBlock, at SouthBlock on Instagram. And that's probably the best ways is on Instagram. From there, you can feel free to shoot me a message or whatever.
Awesome, Amir. Once again, thank you so much for hopping on the show. This was, I think, definitely an eye-opening interview, and I think you've got me sort of rethinking about life and business. So, again, I cannot thank you enough for hopping on as a guest, and hopefully our listeners take advantage of all of those golden nuggets you provided.
Hey, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me on. This was a lot of fun. Brought back a lot of memories. Plus, I reminded myself of some things myself. It's always good to remind yourself of some of the things you've learned along the way.
Absolutely. We'll chat soon, my friend. Take care.
All right. Appreciate it.
Listening to the Real Estate and Small Business for Management Consultant Show, brought to you by Quetzal Capital Group. Quetzal Capital Group works with investors nationwide to invest in real estate while also looking to add value in the communities where they operate. Quetzal Capital Group. Client-centered, data-driven, result-oriented. Connect with us online at quetzalcapitalgroup.com to learn more.